fantastic time to be a sports fan. It's an honor and a pleasure to talk about this with you here as we're living in a renewed golden era. Although it did have a little bit of a pause button hit on us last night as Mavs could not execute the sweep. If you brought your broom, you did not get to wave it in glory. Salute to the T-Wolves for keeping themselves alive there. Does this game change your confidence level in any way, gentlemen? How are you looking at it?
Not one percentage point.
Are you bleeping kidding me?
Not 1 percentage point.
Doesn't change my confidence.
Walchuk was putting the Mavs in the finals 2 months ago?
Yes.
Let's go.
We're going to hold our water on this one.
They really had no business being in that game. I mean, Minnesota was shooting the hell out of the ball, and Luka's not playing well. Kyrie's not playing well. So, to me, you're playing with house money here. Now, I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression. Let's get Karl-Anthony Towns the hell out of this game in the fourth quarter. I don't know why they're not driving at him and trying to get him to get that sixth foul. He doesn't end up fouling out to a minute and a half left. But they still had an opportunity to win that game. It's hanging in the balance. I think they got the final good punch from Minnesota. I don't see Karl-Anthony Towns having that type of shooting performance from three again in Game 5. They're going home. They're going to go ahead and celebrate on Minnesota's court now.
Yeah, I think even if you get another Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns game, what you're definitely not going to get is another game of Kyrie and Luka being that inefficient from the field. It's just not going to happen. It certainly won't happen over the course of the next 3 games, but I would venture to guess that those guys will come back with a bit of a vengeance here, and they will be the best versions of themselves in the next game, and I think that's really the only difference here. That's it.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think that they were bound to have a game where they had a little bit of a letdown. I didn't think the Mavs played horribly. The shots just didn't go in. And I think, the Timberwolves were due a game where, they had actually things go their way. And I could see that happening again in Minnesota, but not beyond Game 6. I think it's Mavs in 5 or 6 right now. Brian, how you looking at it?
Yeah, you talked to folks at the Mavs that they felt like that they let Minnesota off the hook a little bit with the way they played. They didn't feel like they were very good on either the offensive end or the defensive end as well. And that was a big struggle for them in this one. They felt like that they needed to play better there, and they just did not execute, as you mentioned the word, very well at all. And they felt like that they gifted them some baskets along the way. And we can dive into the type of night that Cat had for them. I mean, watching him sitting in the arena and watching the shots, he really had it last night. He did, and he had an aggressiveness about him, and maybe it was up to Minnesota's plan of with no Lively as a rim protector. That let's take advantage of this. Let's try and drive the ball a little bit inside. Dallas have been doing a really good job of playing well in the paint, but without Lively, I felt like, and here I am, basketball guy, whatever, I don't know. I'm sitting there going to question, man, they went a little bit too early to the bench, I think, with Dallas. When you look at
too much Powell.
With Powell right off,
come on over to the good side.
Right off the jump, and I'm sitting
too much DP,
and it was really early in the game, and I'm not sitting there trying to blame the game on him, but some of the rotations early, I love though the way they bring Hardy in. You could tell the energy. Sure. I was watching one time and I was describing to Dawson this. It's like Luka looks at him and Hardy has this way about him of driving the ball and getting to the rack, and one time he's dribbling, he kind of looks over at Luka, and Luka's takes a step back and waves his arm like, bro, go, go do something. Don't pass the ball to me. You go make something happen. And
nobody can stay in front of him.
Yeah, nobody can stay in front of him.
That dunk was incredible, dude.
To me, that's where. But you had some guys yesterday in that game, and sitting there and watching that, the way the ball was rotating, there were a couple guys that weren't really interested in taking shots for the Mavs yesterday.
A little passive?
Lot of passive.
Yeah,
there.
You talk about Hardy, the quickness that he's able to get to the rim, it's just incredible. I mean, he is so damn fast, and there's times where I think he gets there so quickly, he's like, should I dunk this or just lay it in? And there was one time he's a little too strong on the touch there, trying to get the layup. I do think not having Lively, to your point, absolutely. Hopefully he's back for Game 5. He's been moved up to questionable. Yeah. Yes, 903, Luka had a triple-double and played bad. He did. That's the greatness that is Luka. He can have yet another triple-double in the postseason, but it's not to the level of which you expect him to play.
And it was just the shooting. He's 7 of 21 from the field.
Luka, Kyrie, and PJ combined were 30%, and they were 26% from three with 8 turnovers.
And you had a chance to win.
Yes.
Yeah, it was real evident though when you look up at the scoreboard and you look at the starting 5 that were on the floor at the end, and there wasn't a 30 next to Kyrie's name, and there wasn't a 30 next to what I'm saying, and there's such a combination when their stars have outplayed the Timberwolves stars. Timberwolves won that game because of Edwards and Cat last night.
Van Gundy was on that the whole broadcast.
Yeah.
He's like, here's the points for Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Here's the points for Luka and Kyrie.
And it's you could watch the game and you could tell at the end of that when I was just watching the body language, Kyrie at the end when the final seconds went off and you could tell he like kind of slumped down and put his hands on his knees.
Today might be a 1,500 jumper day for him.
Yeah, he knew he knew he didn't have his best.
Yeah.
And every one of those Dallas Maverick players walked over and hugged him after the games.
Nice.
And hugged him in a way of like, and you could see that he felt like he completely let everybody on that court and in that arena down.
That's a man who realizes that he's no longer 14-0 undefeated in closeout opportunities. He's now 14-1. That's going to weigh on you. And he had some uncharacteristic turnovers, a little bit sloppy with some of the stuff, and that you never really see see that from him. 4 turnovers.
Yeah, that last play I did it.
That one at the end.
Yeah.
And he was frustrated in himself.
Yeah. When you watch them drive, the drive and kick. And then the worst one is when they drive and then they just throw the ball to nobody.
Well, the ball movement,
and you're like
extra pass. One of you need to shoot at some point. Like I do love this. Let's pass it around the horn.
Cleveland wanted nothing to do with shooting the ball.
Maxey wanted nothing to shoot the ball. I almost tweeted at Eric in pregame. I'm like, I'm watching pregame. It doesn't look like Maxey really wants to shoot the ball here today. I almost tweeted that out.
Well, we've seen that from him before. We've seen that even when he's not unhealthy or whatever. There's times where he just has a yip factor and don't want to shoot it.
There were some guys yesterday that game got a little like, I don't want to shoot this ball today. And they needed somebody because Kyrie just did not have it yesterday.
No, when he turned down that 3, he ends up throwing a lob for a dunk. But you knew at that point it's going to be really hard to close this if Kyrie isn't feeling it. And I think he probably made the best team first decision. Like, I'm not making this 3, so I'm going to go find us a 2. But if you take that 3 away and then Maxey's not shooting the 3, the offense is just totally different.
Shout out to Maxey though for a couple of drawing those charges.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Good to see him stepping in there, having a couple of moments of impact there defensively. Hopefully the shot and the confidence comes a little bit here. But you got the Jaden Hardy game. I think that's the other thing is you're seeing guys like them build confidence for themselves. Exum comes in, has a little bit of a moment. Like if you can get some of these
There's another guy that doesn't need to be shooting, by the way.
No, he's been
Exum.
One 3. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, he came in there and knocked it down.
The first one he took.
No, you're good now.
The first one he took was like, it wasn't even close. And I understand, but I was thinking, to me, if his minutes are taking away from Hardy, I want nothing to do with it now.
Well, it's funny because Hardy comes in that game, and I was about to do the Gavin Dawson thing of like, we can't play Hardy right now. Like it was all over the place for the first couple of minutes, and then it switched.
He's a little bit wild.
He became a completely different version of himself. I was like, all right, thank God.
Man, Jason Kidd will stick with a guy, and it'll turn out okay.
Yeah,
that's something I've learned for sure. Derek Lively's absence, though, I feel like was felt significantly. His status has been upgraded to questionable. Yeah. Luka's questionable with his aches and pains, so hopefully both those guys play. But if not, I have every bit of confidence in the world. Game 6 would be no problem back here, or even Game 7 in Minnesota. They're going to get this job done.